Most men believe that women only notice guys with money, expensive cars, or perfect looks. But here's the uncomfortable truth. None of those things guarantee that you'll be the man who instantly stands out in a room. In fact, some of the men women can't take their eyes off don't even open their mouths. They don't flash cash, they don't beg for attention, and they don't need approval. What they have is something far more powerful: presence. You see, women are far more observant than most men realize. They pick up on subtle signals long before a conversation even starts. And in a world full of men trying too hard, the one who doesn't chase, doesn't brag, and doesn't need validation ends up being the one women notice first. This isn't about arrogance. It's about quiet strength. It's about carrying yourself in a way that makes people curious without you saying a single word. And here's where Stoicism comes in. The ancient philosophy teaches self-control, composure, and emotional strength, qualities that women find magnetic, even if they don't consciously know why. A man who lives with this kind of discipline gives off an aura that sets him apart instantly. While other men scramble for attention, he naturally attracts it. In this video, we're going to break down 7 clear signs that you're the kind of man women notice first. Some of these may surprise you because they go against the usual pick-up advice you hear online. But if you pay attention, you'll understand why certain men command respect and attraction without lifting a finger, while others, no matter how hard they try, remain invisible. 1. The power of silent confidence. Confidence is magnetic, but here's the twist. Real confidence isn't loud. It doesn't need to prove itself. It doesn't beg for attention, and it doesn't show off. The men women notice first are not the ones cracking the loudest jokes or talking over everyone. They're the ones who can sit in a room, say nothing, and still make people feel their presence. That's silent confidence, and it's far more powerful than any flashy words or forced charm. Most men mistake arrogance for confidence. They believe raising their voice, bragging about their achievements, or dominating every conversation makes them stand out. But to women, that often signals insecurity. Silent confidence, on the other hand, shows that a man doesn't need outside validation. He's comfortable in his own skin, and that calm self-assurance draws attention naturally. Think about it. In any group, who stands out more? The guy desperately trying to impress, or the guy who looks relaxed, composed, and unbothered? Women are wired to notice the second man because his stillness signals strength, stability, and control. This is exactly what Stoicism teaches: mastering yourself so you don't have to chase approval. Imagine walking into a bar with a group of friends. One guy is being loud, waving his arms, and cracking jokes at everyone's expense. Another guy sits back, relaxed, making steady eye contact, not rushing to speak, just comfortable with the silence. Guess which one women glance at more? It's the second man, because his quiet confidence leaves room for curiosity. He doesn't need to announce who he is. People want to figure him out. Silent confidence works because it flips the script. Instead of saying, "Notice me," it says, "I don't need to be noticed." And ironically, that's exactly why women notice first. 2. Eye contact. That says everything. A man's eyes reveal more than his words ever could. The truth is, women notice your eye contact before they notice your outfit, your haircut, or even your body. Why? Because eye contact communicates confidence, dominance, and intention without you opening your mouth. If your eyes dart around nervously, or you avoid holding her gaze, she instantly picks up on insecurity. But if you can hold eye contact calmly, without flinching, you signal strength. Here's the key. There's a difference between staring and holding eye contact. Staring feels creepy, like you're trying too hard. But steady, calm eye contact feels natural, like you're in control of yourself. It tells her you're not afraid of being seen. It tells her you're comfortable in your own skin. Women are incredibly quick to sense this. A man who holds his gaze doesn't just appear confident, he appears trustworthy and grounded. That's why in conversations, or even across a room, eye contact becomes one of the fastest ways to stand out without saying anything. Picture this. You're at a coffee shop. Across the room, a woman glances your way. Most men either look away instantly or overdo it with an awkward stare. But you? You hold her gaze for a moment, relaxed, with a slight smirk before looking back at what you were doing. That tiny gesture creates curiosity in her mind. Who is this guy that doesn't look nervous or needy? That's the power of eye contact. It plants a seed of intrigue. When used correctly, eye contact is silent communication. It says, I see you, I'm not intimidated, and I'm in control. And the truth is, women will always notice the man who can speak volumes with his eyes alone. 3. Body language that commands respect. Before you say a word, your body has already spoken. Women notice posture, gestures, and the way you move long before they hear your voice. And here's the truth. Most men sabotage themselves without even realizing it. Slouched shoulders, restless fidgeting, weak handshakes, or walking too fast all send one clear message: insecurity. On the other hand, controlled, deliberate body language communicates authority. Standing tall with your shoulders back makes you appear stronger and more present. Moving with calm, steady steps shows that you're in no rush to prove anything. Even something as simple as the way you sit, taking up space without looking sloppy, signals self-assurance. Think about the men you've seen who seem to draw attention without trying. They aren't waving their arms around or demanding the spotlight. They move with purpose, they look relaxed, and they never appear desperate for approval. That's the body language women notice instantly. It's not about looking aggressive, it's about looking composed. And here's what makes this even more powerful. Body language reveals what you think of yourself. If you respect yourself, it shows in how you carry yourself. Women read that instinctively. They can tell if you're the type of man who's comfortable in his skin or the type who's hiding behind fake confidence. You don't need to exaggerate anything. In fact, the less forced your body language feels, the stronger it becomes. Small, subtle shifts, standing upright, keeping your movements intentional, holding stillness, make you appear like a man who's grounded and in control. At the end of the day, respect isn't asked for, it's commanded. And the way you carry yourself physically is often the first invitation for women to notice and respect you before you even speak. 4. The calm energy. Women can't ignore. In a world where most men are restless, anxious, and constantly chasing, the man who carries calm energy stands out like a lighthouse. Women notice it instantly. It's not about being slow or passive. It's about having an inner stillness that shows you're not easily shaken by what's happening around you. Think about how most men behave in social situations. They're either too eager to impress, constantly checking their phones, laughing too loudly, or rushing to fill every silence with words. That kind of frantic energy signals nervousness, and women pick up on it right away. Now compare that to a man who's composed, relaxed, and unbothered. He's not fidgeting, not forcing a laugh, and not desperate to prove himself. His calm presence makes him more attractive because it communicates control. This is the kind of energy that comes from a deeper place, self-respect and discipline. It's a byproduct of knowing who you are and not needing external approval to validate it. And here's the controversial truth. Women often feel safer and more drawn to a man who has this calmness, even if he's not the loudest or the best looking in the room. Why? Because calm energy feels rare, and rare things are valuable. You've probably noticed it yourself. Some men walk into a room and without saying much, everyone feels their presence. That doesn't come from noise or arrogance. It comes from carrying an energy that says, I'm in control of myself and nothing here unsettles me. Women can't help but notice a man like that. His calmness is attractive, not because it's flashy, but because it's powerful. And in a world where most people are overwhelmed and distracted, calm energy becomes unforgettable. 5. The mystery of saying less. One of the biggest mistakes men make is talking too much. They think the more they say, the more interesting they'll appear. But here's the harsh reality. Most men end up talking themselves out of respect. They overshare, they try too hard to be funny, or they fill every silence with pointless chatter. And instead of appearing confident, they come across as insecure and desperate for attention. Women notice this instantly. They can tell when a man is speaking to prove himself versus when a man speaks because he actually has something valuable to say. The man who says less automatically creates mystery. His words carry more weight because he doesn't waste them. And that mystery is what sparks curiosity. Women want to know more about the man who isn't giving everything away up front. If you're always explaining yourself, always trying to impress, or always telling stories to be liked, you're doing it wrong. Wake up. You're handing away your power by thinking your words will make you more attractive. In reality, the opposite is true. Silence, when used correctly, is far more powerful. Think about it. Who commands more respect? The man who can sit back, listen, and only speak when necessary? Or the man who never stops talking just to be noticed? It's obvious. The quiet man shows discipline and self-control. The talkative one shows insecurity. Here's the advice. Stop oversharing. Stop rushing to fill silence. Stop thinking you need to constantly explain yourself. Say less, but mean more. When your words become selective, women start leaning in. They notice you not because you shouted for attention, but because your presence made them curious without you trying. 6. How discipline makes you magnetic. Discipline is one of the most underrated traits men overlook, yet it's one of the first things women notice, whether they realize it or not. A man who is disciplined in his habits, his health, and his mindset carries himself differently. He doesn't move like someone who's lost or out of control. He moves like someone who has structure, focus, and purpose, and that makes him magnetic. Most men don't see this. They chase women instead of chasing discipline. They spend hours scrolling on their phones, wasting energy on distractions, and then wonder why they don't stand out. Women can spot this lack of control quickly. It shows in your body, in your energy, and even in your eyes. If you can't control yourself, how can you possibly lead or protect anyone else? Discipline isn't just about working out or sticking to routines. It's about the message it sends. When you consistently take care of yourself, you're proving that you respect yourself. And self-respect is one of the most attractive qualities a man can have. Women are drawn to men who don't need external motivation because it shows inner strength. Here's the thing. Discipline isn't glamorous. It's waking up early, saying no to temptations, putting in effort when no one's watching. But that invisible work builds an aura that others can feel. A man who trains his body, controls his emotions, and focuses his time doesn't need to brag about it. His lifestyle speaks louder than words, and that's why discipline makes you magnetic. While most men rely on luck or charm, the disciplined man creates his own gravity. Women don't just notice him, they respect him, because his self-control makes him rare in a world full of men who can't even control themselves. 7. Why most men will never be noticed. Here's the hard truth. Most men will never be the kind of man women notice first. Not because they can't, but because they refuse to do the work. They blend into the background because they live without self-respect, without confidence, and without discipline. And the saddest part? They don't even realize it. Most men chase approval instead of building presence. They think buying expensive clothes, showing off money, or trying to act tough will make them stand out. But women see through that instantly. Flashy distractions might catch attention for a moment, but they don't hold respect. And without respect, attraction fades fast. The men who remain invisible are the ones who settle for comfort, avoid challenges, and never take control of their own lives. They walk into a room hoping someone will validate them instead of commanding respect through their energy. Women notice the difference right away. The reality is simple. If you want to be noticed, you have to stop living like everyone else. Most men are predictable, insecure, and careless. That's why they're forgettable. But the man who builds quiet confidence, sharp discipline, and calm energy, he stands out naturally because he's rare. So if you don't want to be overlooked, stop chasing shortcuts. Start building yourself. Because the men who are noticed without saying a word are the ones who chose to live differently from the crowd. At the end of the day, women don't notice men for the reasons most guys believe. It's not the car, the flashy clothes, or the loud personality. It's the presence, the discipline, the calm energy, and the respect you carry for yourself. And here's the controversial truth. If a woman doesn't notice you at all, it might be because you haven't given her a single reason to. Not her fault. Yours. I know that stings, but it's the wake-up call many men need. If you want to stand out, you must first become the man who stands for something. That's what creates the silent attraction no words can buy. Now I want to hear from you. Drop a comment below. Have you ever noticed how women respond differently when you're calm, confident, and silent compared to when you try too hard? Share your experience. I'll read every comment and also be reaching out to continue the conversation. Remember, this channel isn't just me teaching. It's us building a community of men who are ready to learn and level up together. As always, try not to miss the next video, because I'll be breaking down something even more crucial, the one behavior that quietly kills attraction faster than anything else. So click on that subscribe button and also turn on the notification bell so you would be the first to know when it's out. I'll see you then.